Hey everyone, Brad here, and I just thought I would share a couple things that have been coming up when I've been talking with different practice and healthcare business owners over the past couple weeks. So, I'm a huge advocate about the foundations of marketing and growing like a profitable healthcare business. I mean, we don't learn a lot of these skill sets in school, and ultimately, we're kind of just left to sort of figure it out as we go along. But ultimately, we need to be able to generate profit for us to be able to do the things that we want in life, take care of ourselves and help our patients and so on. So ultimately our goal in business, even though for me, for example, we were told healthcare is not a business and just do a good job and people will come. Ultimately, that's not really the case. We want to be able to build a business that's going to be able to have an ideal income, freedom of time, and ultimately put you in a better position than you would be working for someone else. That's why we went into business ideally, for having our own money and time and so on. So marketing and generating new patient bookings, retaining those patients, making sure they have a great experience and great results are critically important to the success of your business, but they're also not the only important aspect to consider. And really, there's a few core pillars and principles that are essentially the building blocks of your business's foundation. And in fact, like these are the same principles like I've been using in my businesses, from clinics to the gym and so on, for really years. And the big component that I think that a lot of people get carried away on is that they get sort of shiny object syndrome. They see a new modality or, I see people talking about, well, you got to be on TikTok now, like all sorts of different sort of concepts here. And they're really just tactical based. They're not really building an actual sound strategy or system. They're just kind of doing random stuff. So there's three main really key components that no matter what you're trying to do, you need to have dialed in. Now, the first one is you need to be active in promoting your business. Otherwise, people are just not going to engage with you. So I always give the example, like imagine you remodeled your clinic, you moved into a new space, you got treatment rooms, they're brand new, paint, everything looks awesome. Brand new electric tables, front desk, computers, everything is, the best of the best. You're ready to launch your business. And, you kind of stand there and say, well, am I actually going to promote this and tell this to people, or am I just going to just open the doors and hopefully people come in? No, you're going to be excited. You're going to want to tell people, you're going to want to promote it. You want to share the story. You'd be out telling people in the community, your past clients, family members, social media networks, everything. So the same principles apply in your business all the time. And this is a huge problem of why I see a lot of people have drops in their schedule, is really they just stop actually promoting their business. Now, there is the other end of the spectrum. We won't talk about it a lot today. I recently wrote an article on this for Massage Therapy Canada and Canadian Chiropractor Naturopath about a wait list. People say, well, I don't need to market because I have a wait list. Well, firstly, a wait list is actually really bad for your business. I've written other articles, and you can read the one that's coming out in a little bit later on in those magazines. But you do still want to consistently be promoting your business, because there will be times when patients may be discharged or someone moves away or whatever else may happen. So you want to have a consistent way to bring people potentially back in. Now, you may not need to have 30 new people coming through the door every month, but you might still want to have 2 to 3. And most practitioners that I talk to will have some sort of attrition, either through fault of their own for not having a follow-up system, which is another one of these principles, or they ultimately don't have or any way to be able to get people to come back in and that kind of thing. So constantly promoting your business and making sure that your messaging is out there, making sure that you're doing things to be able to stimulate conversations. And again, you don't necessarily need to be blasting massive ad spend through Facebook ads, but one strategy that I use are video view ads that for people who are really busy, so that people are consistently seeing you in the community. I put together mini courses, evergreen webinars. There's different things that you can run for very little ad costs, like $5 to $10 a day. And you're starting to get your message out there while you're kind of busier. Now, that's going to probably generate enough people to keep you sustainably going and make sure that you don't have any drop-offs. Now, for people who need to obviously grow their business, well, that step is they need to be promoting it. And there's a lot of people who kind of sit on the sidelines and sort of, do everything that everything. Like, for example, I remember one girl who's just kind of starting her business. She doesn't have many patients. It's been about 3 months. She worried about rent and so on. She's investing all of her time and focus into a website. And while a great website is a core fundamental principle that I go through in my programs that you need to have dialed in, if you don't have traffic, then you're never going to have patients coming in off of that. So you need to be actively promoting the website if it's one of your conversion tools in your marketing skill set. So a lot of the time I say, depending on where you are, you want to be able to be doing 5 to 6 different activities that are going to be promoting your business. Joint ventures are really great where you can build people in your network. They require more time. Facebook ads, Google, YouTube, those types of things are also really good based on the ROI. But it's really important to make sure that you want to be able to be actively promoting all of the time. Don't have periods of time where you're not doing it, because that's what can lead to inconsistencies, and why I hear a lot of the time people say, well, I'm really, really busy and I stop marketing and promoting, and then my schedule drops off, and then I have tons of time to do it. And they kind of go through this entire sort of segment. And that's ultimately why a lot of people work with us, because we help create consistency with our patient acquisition systems. Number 2 is you must focus on building and investing in the follow-up of your prospects and patients. Attracting prospective patients is only the first step in the overall cycle of patients. And a lot of the time people get lost on this and they forget that not everyone is going to buy from you right away. Far too often practitioners that I talk to follow up maybe once, maybe twice, if that, and then they kind of toss the person aside and they don't want to be too pushy, or, I don't have any time to follow up with these people and so on. But the reality is that Dean Jackson gives these percentages, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was something around kind of the 7 to 15% of people are going to buy right now. And that means, if you got 100 leads that come in a month, you might book sort of 7 to 15 of them immediately. They'll pay whatever. They're going to come in. They're going to be awesome clients. Well, we've got about 30 to 40% of people who are not going to buy now, but they're going to buy somewhere between 1 day and kind of 90 days. So those people, for example, they may have just started having knee pain. They might have just started not being able to do something, or just started to, have a cognitive decline, or whatever it is specifically. And it hasn't been a big enough of a problem that they want to address at this moment. So what we want to do is, and one thing is for sure, we know that if the person, especially if they're active, it has a problem, it's probably not going to go away on their own. And they're probably going to invest some time and money in trying to maybe solve this problem. But one thing for sure, they're probably not going to fix it. And that's why I've been in business for so long, is because people are going to go to other practitioners and try the foam roller and the injections and medication and everything else. Not going to work. So what I can guarantee you is that the 15%, 15% of people who are going to buy right away, awesome. I don't need to focus on those as much. And in other kind of videos, and when I go through offers and so on, we talk about creating those hot, fast moving offers. I don't have to focus on those as much because they're easy. This is where agencies really focus on hammering people, is when they're setting you up with services and so on. They're just trying to go after the people who are most likely to opt in. In previous videos, we talked about not getting the right types of clients, and ultimately you get tire kickers and that kind of stuff. Won't get into it here too much. But the main components that I want you to take away is that once you've made an initial contact with the prospect, don't stop engaging with them. Now, I'm not suggesting that you bombard them and show up their house in the bushes, peeking through the windows and like nut tapping on their glass, but you want to make sure that you're curating an experience. And when I talk a bit about the patient journey and the success journey of the patient, and each one of these stages needs to be curated. So for example, the person who has back pain that may be getting worse, I might give them some testimonials and say, hey, when you're ready, here's how you can contact us and so on. You really want to think about nurturing, giving them value, building trust, and showing results, so that when they are ready to take action, you're top of mind because you've been consistently kind of incepting them with your communications. You want to show that you're really interested in solving the prospective patient's problems, and genuinely asking questions relating to their problems, giving them information on where they would be. And this is why things like CRM, customer relation management software, key components to any client that I work with building out, because ultimately we need to have a great communication cadence, and the communications also need to be specific for each one of those things. So far too often I see people not following up for that fear of being too pushy, not having enough time, whatever else it is. Well, the reality is that people can self-opt out, they'll opt back in. It happens all of the time. But ultimately, make sure that you're curating a good experience and you're building and investing in that relationship, because that's ultimately where you will massively increase your profitability, have more patients coming in consistently, and overall having more successful business. For me, I generally would get somewhere between kind of $30,000 to $35,000 a month in reactivation, reoffer type things to past patients that I know that are built on consistency from the communications. Now, lastly, ultimately, you need to solve real problems. And when I say real problems, they need to be problems that are really important to the ideal prospect that you're trying to attract. In the end, you need to prove to your prospects that you're legit and you're ultimately able to help them. Chances are they've tried other things, other ways to solve their problems without much success. And maybe they may be a bit more skeptical about trying something new, especially if it's a new service, or, they've done physio before and they're going to try it again or whatever. This is why people stay stuck sometimes for years taking no action. And I've talked to all sorts of people because I kind of am a little bit of their last leg of their journey. They may be seeing 5 or 6 different people and so on, and they really get stuck. So you really need to make sure that your marketing message and positioning of your offers are dialed in with the solutions that you provide, and you be able to communicate your process in a way that the prospect can understand. If you get stuck on like how to communicate the real problems, you solve, go back to number 2 and really look and ask those genuine questions to understand the problems that you're really looking for. And this goes back to your, kind of marketplace research and messaging and that kind of stuff. So you really need to understand that businesses exist to solve problems. And the bigger the problem you solve, people will say, the more money you'll make and the better you are. Well, that's not entirely true. The bigger problem you solve and can communicate to those ideal prospects, then you will end up having a lot of success. Remember, people buy solutions. They don't buy service. No one wakes up in the middle of the night saying, I need to go physio. I need to get an adjustment massage. They're saying my back hurts and I'm tired and I've got all this work and stuff I got to do and I can't go to the gym and so on. So when their quality of life starts to decrease, they're thinking, I need to improve these aspects. They're not thinking, well, I need to go buy a massage. If you're in that world, now you're going to have an extreme problem being able to scale your business or realistically just be consistent with the amount of clients that you have. So, these principles may seem pretty simple, logical, but without like a clear understanding of each of those segments and how they fit into your business, it's really easy to lose sight of them in the day-to-day business. And that's why when I mentioned, the first one, a lot of people, they forget to promote their business. They don't effectively look at their offers. They don't look at what they can consistently do to bring other people in or reach other segments of people or replace the tire kickers that they have, to even look at if what they're doing is effective. They don't invest in the relationships, or they do for a period of time and then it just kind of drops off. And ultimately you end up with this cycle of you're making some money and then it drops off, or I'm trying to hire someone and they don't stay because I don't have enough patience and that kind of stuff. So these are key fundamentals that you really need to dial in. And I always recommend looking at these monthly and just kind of dialing in and making sure, hey, what am I doing to build these relationships? Am I making these people offers? Am I improving the experience? Am I hosting a workshop? What are the main problems that they need to be solved? And how can I best communicate being able to solve them? And ultimately, what am I going to do to promote my business, promote my other practitioners, or if it's just you, what am I going to do to make sure that I'm consistent, especially if there are periods of time? And as always, when you're ready to grow your business and implement some of these strategies so you can get patients that stay, pay, and refer consistently every month and make sure that you have that time freedom, you have more profitability and more money in your pocket, and really building the business that you want with ideal types of patients, send me a message and we can chat a little bit more about implementing these types of strategies and other higher level marketing and sales strategies into your business. Thanks.